Okay, everybody, I'm about to do something that every person has done out there on YouTube. I'm going to turn this into this. That's right, I'm going to replace my iPhone with an iPad mini. I know what you're saying, everybody's done this. This time it's going to be different though, right? Yep, I'm going to take my iPhone and I'm going to replace it with an iPad mini for a week and see if I survive. It's something that I'm sure everybody has done. Mine's going to be different though. It's going to be more informational, I think. I am still going to wear my Apple Watch though, so that's going to take care of phone calls. I don't get a lot of phone calls anyway, but text messaging, things like that, I could do on my iPad mini. So I think this is going to go really well, actually. When you look at both an iPad mini and an iPhone, they're really not very different in size. I mean, this is a Pro Max, and, well, I mean, the mini is a lot bigger. But when you carry one around or the other, I don't know, I carry both around all the time, so I'm going to see what happens when I stop carrying this around and I start relying on this more. Off the bat, I think battery life is probably going to be a thing for me, but we'll see what happens. Hi everyone and welcome to the channel. Alright, a week has passed and I'm back to using my iPhone, but I gotta say, using a device the size of an iPad isn't that far-fetched of an idea. Okay, before we get in all the details, please take a moment to like this video if you found it useful, subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on all new how-tos and reviews that I post. Now there are pros and cons that I'm going to talk about, but if you were to try this out for a week, you might find yourself wanting something similar to the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold, Pixel Fold, and wondering when Apple is going to release their own foldable. Okay, let's get the shock of doing this out of the way first. The main thing is that the mini is not a phone. So if you're on the phone a lot, using your iPhone phone number, this might not work for you. If you're using some other software like Google Voice for phone calls, you can pair your mini up with some AirPods or other Bluetooth headphones and it'd work quite well. A couple other cons here and then we'll get into what I liked about using my mini as my primary device. You know, you start doing something like this and then you realize, wait, I can't do this or I can't do that. Well, the camera was something I didn't think about. The iPhone camera is just better. And I keep the case on my mini, so when I flip the cover around, it's hard to quickly take a pic. The other thing was using my phone to pay for things. I can't tap to pay on the mini, so I discovered that pretty quick the first time I went out to buy something. Again, my watch saved the day for me, so that helped as well. Now let's move on to what makes this an almost doable device to use daily. I started using my mini and quickly realized it wasn't set up in a way that was going to work for this test. My iPad was kind of neglected compared to my iPhone. I was really just using it as an entertainment device, and I think a lot of people who use an iPad do the same thing. Well, I went in and the first adjustment I made was to the keyboard setup. So let's talk about the keyboard a little bit and a couple of things that I made adjustments to that really helped in using your iPad mini as more of a daily driver. You'll see the keyboard right now is docked to the bottom, so that's probably how you're using it now. That's probably how most people use the keyboard on an iPad, whether it be a mini or a pro. But if you press and hold the keyboard button at the bottom right, you actually can undock, split, or use it as floating. So if I moved up to split, you can actually do typing with your thumbs here. You see it kind of splits the keyboard in half and you can use your right thumb and left thumb to type. You can press and hold and you can do floating. And this is how I was actually using it. And the great thing about this is when you do floating keyboard, you can do swipe to type just like you have on your iPhone. So I could do something like this, and that's actually going to type new note there at the top. So this is really nice because you can kind of move it around the screen wherever you need it, and you get all this real estate back on your iPad. And then the last thing I wanted to point out that I used a lot while I was doing this is the dictation. So don't forget that you do have the microphone here. Type a new note for me. And I can use dictation here as well, and I can actually have that go and type a new note for me. The other thing I did was cleaned up my home screen a bit. I'm already using focus mode on my iPhone, but hadn't set anything up on my Mini. So even though my focus mode was carried over to the Mini, it wasn't changing anything. After taking just a little bit of time to personalize each focus mode on my Mini, it made a huge difference in daily use. Overall, swapping out my iPhone for an iPad Mini wasn't very challenging at all. It almost makes sense to have something like a foldable with you now. I'm a big fan of the iPad Mini, and this made me appreciate what it can do even more. While I don't think 2024 is going to give us any foldable from Apple, you never know. I do think we'll see an updated iPad Mini for sure, and maybe it'll have updated features to use Apple Pay and a camera upgrade as well. Thanks again for watching, everyone, and we'll talk soon.